Hi friends, I'm Samantha with Creating in the Mitten, and today we're going to learn how to do a Tunisian mesh stitch. There are a few tutorials out there for how to do this, but for some reason I couldn't find one to show me the stitch I wanted to do specifically for this design. This stitch is such a fun way to create a beautiful drape with a worsted weight yarn and still have a nice strong structure. You will need to know how to chain, work double crochets, a Tunisian forward pass, and a Tunisian return pass. If you don't know how to do those yet, I do recommend checking out Tony from TL Yarn Crafts and her YouTube channel for her beginner Tunisian guide, and also purchasing this book called The Tunisian Crochet Workshop, which I've been using as a guide for a variety of other designs and basic knowledge. I'll have a link for both of those in the description below. Today we're going to be working with a 6.5mm Tunisian hook and a medium size 4 worsted weight yarn. I use the Loops and Threads Impeccable from Michaels just to practice my stitches because it seems to give a really good definition, and that way I can know how everything will feel. To start, we're going to chain an odd number of stitches. So for this gauge itself, we're going to chain 15. All right, so we have our 15. And then in the back bumps of all of these chains, right through here, we're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop. And I recommend making that first chain a little bit loose so it's easier to work in these bumps. Whoops. All right, and now we've made our forward pass. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to just do a regular return pass. There is nothing different about this part. So we're going to chain or pull through that one loop, which is technically our chain, and then yarn over and pull through two, and continue doing that all the way back across. All right, so now we're going to chain one, and we're going to skip this first bar right here. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to go into the second, and pull up a loop, and then chain two, and then yarn over. We're going to skip this bar and go into this bar, pull up a loop, yarn over, and chain two. And we're going to continue doing this all the way across, and this will be the forward pass for the mesh stitch. So yarn over, skip this one, go in here, pull up a loop, and chain two. And then for our last stitch, we will yarn over twice. and then double crochet, chain 1, and do a regular return pass. And there's our first row. Now we'll chain 1, and then yarn over, and we're going to skip here. This is technically a stitch right here, and we're going to go into that bump, pull up a loop, chain 2, yarn over, skip this stitch here, go in here, and chain 2. And we'll continue doing that for as many rows as you need to, and then when we come back, I will show you how to bind this off. Alright, so we've made it to the end. We have our rows that we wanted, and now we're ready to bind off. So what we're going to do is we're not going to chain 1 on this, but we are going to work in this bump here that we've been skipping, and we're going to pull up a loop and slip through. And we're going to continue doing that all the way across in each bar that we were skipping and in the stitch itself. So we'll go through that bar and slip stitch and go into the stitch and slip stitch. And we'll continue doing this all the way across. And then you would just finish off, cut your ends and weave them in, and there you go. And as you can see, this top row of stitches matches this bottom row of stitches, so it creates a nice border. And now you've made your first Tunisian mesh stitch gauge swatch. And thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or anything, of course, just leave comments below. I do have a pattern that I just released on my website today, and that is about an entire blanket shawl made out of this stitch. So make sure you go on over and check that out. I'll have a link below as well. Thanks, guys.